All right. What is up, fellas?
Rocking and rolling. We are on. Feels good to be back. How we doing, Woodman?
Fantastic. Yourself?
All right.
Wonderful.
We're doing good.
Wonderful.
We got some people in the room. It's Sunday evening. We got people coming in from Kansas, Ohio. I see Amy the Mod is in the room. James Neal, American Patriot. David Woodruff.
Nice.
Chris Stockton. Ellie, 1978. Amy
Chris
Danielle.
Stockton.
Chris Stockton's in the house.
All our month. Ellie, 1978. Man, we got some of you old schoolers in tonight. What's up, y'all?
Yes, yes. Alaska, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Oregon checking in. Indiana, Mr. B.
Oh, Michigan in the house. California. Oh, California, you guys got some crazy old stuff happening up in your state.
All right, so what is going on, fellas? Saw some new Q posts a little bit ago. I just went over them, but I don't think I see anything else sitting here. Interesting weekend.
Crazy. Yes.
What have you been seeing? It looks like Woodman's all froze up over there. Look at him. Oh, Woodman's gone.
Oh, man's gone. Woodman, he's
we'll just leave him
wood,
up there.
welding. Leave him up there. Leave him there for moral support. Got the airborne hat. Nice,
That's
nice.
awesome.
Puerto Rico in the house. New York City and Florida.
All right, Woodman.
Oh, man.
I put him off the screen in case he comes back. We'll let's readjust this here.
Nah, no worries. Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Some of these last Q posts, what they've been talking about. We were talking about in Garage Talk. Bill Maher, his personal production company that he found, that's his company, is Kid Love Productions. Just crazy stuff. Crazy.
What do you make of that? Let's take a look at that right here. So there you go, folks. Kid Love Productions. And I'm sure he loves them. It's just nuts.
Well, he's come out many times on his show and talked about pedophilia and how it's okay, this and stuff. It's the new family unit, and he's pushing some crazy satanic socialistic Ruski talk.
Yeah, when he talked about that teacher years ago, there's the video floating around back in like 2010, 2011 that Deborah Lafarve
I think that's who she was. And
yeah, because it was a woman that was 30 years old or in her 20s, and there was a 14-year-old kid, and he said the only crime was that there wasn't a videotape of it. So yeah, they try to make these examples that it's okay in certain situations, but the bottom line is when you have a kid that's like 12 and a 30-year-old anything, that's...
And then who do you put in charge to define these unique situations? And what moral values do they have to say, well, this is this situation, this man was born this way, so this is a unique situation. So it's sick. Yeah, I agree, Rosebuds. It's sick things, man. These people are sick. And so when our president talks about the security of our nation and the safety of our children, You know, that's what he's talking about. This very thing, you guys, that's what he's talking about. The safety of our children. Why doesn't he say the safety of all of Americans? Why is he throwing in the safety of our children? I mean, come on now. This is
Emphasizing
just,
on
again,
it.
logical thinking here.
Yeah, and even with I've been seeing that a lot. Like the argument anymore when you know, even with Chris Cuomo on CNN, he's having people on and they're having discussions about the border and the human trafficking, and now they're like, well, you know, it's not only happening down there at the border. We have that happening in our country right now, within our own borders. People being taken from one state over to another, and we have the human trafficking here. And the guy's like, oh, glad you brought that up, Chris. Said, yes, that is a problem as well. Since you're pointing out another problem, you're acting like the border wall is not going to stop this, you know, and it's the whole thing of like when Trump says we have illegals coming in here and committing crimes, and people are like, oh, yeah, we already have our own people here committing crimes. Okay, yes, we're trying to look at all of it. Where do we start? What do we start with? I mean,
you know, it's almost, you know, if we can put that into a real simple narrative, it's like you're complaining that your neighbor's dog is in your yard because you didn't shut the fence. I mean, like one has, hey, it's we're not talking about stray dogs here. We're talking about there's a fence and a board that needs to be put up. I mean, this is just, it's more of an ad hominem, another argument they try to play. What's like, well, we've got crime here. Like, what do you? Why did you even say that? We're not even talking about the crime here. We're talking about the mega crime coming out the border. You know.
Yep. There's many different angles of things, folks. All right. So it's you know, you don't call the fire department and say, hey, my house is on fire, it's burning. Oh, hey, yep, we got a couple fires over here too. And they don't just tell you that back. You know, you want them to come and do something. Fires there. Yeah. So do we try to put out all fires? Do we put out some fires with gas? Or do we use water? Think about it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I you know, these last couple of Q posts have really been summing it up. And even a lot of what's going down, you really see there's a call, you know, this whole national emergency thing. Just recently, we've been going through this, the wall. We were talking in Garage Talk of New Mexico. Their wall is all buttoned up, ready to go, said and done. Thank you very much. What is it? More than way over a month and a half early.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's hard. Me and Ben tried to do some, you know, research on just different like numbers and border length, and there's not a lot of research on it. You have to really do some digging to get simple numbers like how much area is the border that covers, you know, just for New Mexico. Like how much border land do they have that buttons up to the border?
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, then when do they start? And it was approximately, like almost a year or so ago when they started actually aggressively either, i.e. repairing and building new and basically completing and starting on New Mexico, their structure. So, yeah, and there's so much open border, you guys. Out of like the 1,984 miles, it's from obviously sea to shining sea. We have 300 miles worth of actual barrier. That's including ports of entry and this kind of stuff. Now, yes, you can get the argument of, well, we have, you know, what we're going to put big giant 30, 40-foot walls on mountains and cliffs. No, again, that's them trying to steer you away from the problem at hand. And no, this is, you know, Mary Jones, 189 miles total. There you go. So they also have.
I thought you read 314 or something with 300 and some miles. I can't.
Well,
I'm not sure.
It's a combined. I think the combined total they have like actual physical structure barrier is like. This is the 319, 300 and something, 300 and some change. I'm also including Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico, and California. They have little chunkies of walls and all over this kind of stuff. Now, the holes in between are vast.
Yes.
Now, they also have what they call vehicle barriers, where that fence is defined as a 3-foot fence that's next to a gravel road where the Border Patrol drives their vehicle every so often in patrol. That's considered more of a vehicle style fence. And the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Border or Land Bureau Management is who the Border Patrol falls under when it talks about their how much of it is actually physical barrier, how much of it is actually foot traffic, how much of it is actually, and this is where people like walk across the border, the actual ports of entry, the vehicles going back and forth close to the ports of entry, and the further you get away from the ports of entry, you have the actual walls, and you have nothing. So
yeah, then like I was saying, I've been arguing with people lately on the social medias that like to point out, people that are out there arguing or we know from the people in the reports that most of the stuff's coming in at the border checkpoints. And it's like, well, they're giving you numbers, and I don't know how it's like, well, we know we got this much today because we had these busts, we took pictures, or there's all this evidence that they stopped some stuff. They found some human traffickers, I guess, drugs, and they took pictures, and they documented all their work that day, and then I guess they estimate how much they didn't get. I don't know. But now, what about these open spots that they claim, like, well, most of the stuff's coming in here because that's where we catch it at. They're not catching the illegals that make it across or the illegals with drugs. They don't even know about them. So how do those numbers get calculated into anything that they give out? I don't think they do. It's kind of like the old, if we change unemployment, the minute people get off unemployment, we'll consider them back to work, even though they didn't find work. But for years, they just didn't, they change numbers around sometimes. So you gotta think logically, folks, how some of these articles come out to try to hit the idea of, like tariffs, right, Ben? They give us this is a drop in the bucket of what we're getting. It's 0.02 of the overall number for taxes. And we're like, well, ain't that still positive because it was zero before tariffs were enacted? Even though this 0.2 is very little, it's billions, but in the overall of trillions, it's very little. And they want to pitch it to you like it's no good. You just forget about tariffs and don't get your hopes up. It's a drop in the bucket from what we already steal from you really easily. This will never replace that. That's how they want us to look at it, maybe, without saying all that. All right, folks, they don't say all the other stuff. So you got to listen. You got to listen carefully. Let's see here.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the disinformation they're trying to disseminate, it's getting blown out of the water in relatively almost real time now. So it is pretty interesting.
Yeah, real quick, buffering. I see a few people say it's buffering. It's probably on your guys' end because one time it buffers here, I get a yellow signal on the YouTube. I got a solid green, and my feed coming back is perfect. And lots of people in here are saying that it's working. So some of you are getting buffering. Back out of the video, maybe come back in. Sometimes it helps, or hit the live button, see if it will refresh.
Do the little refresher.
But
in fact, I'll go here. I'm trying to see if there's a. It is pretty interesting to find any type of information, hard number wise, on the wall, on the actual physical stuff that's being done, progress. We were looking at articles from almost maybe 11 months ago that was saying that they're going to start doing this in New Mexico, but we don't know where they were starting at. A lot of this stuff is so. I want to say shadow ban from the internet, but I mean, if we know it's happening, but how come we can't find it? Well, it's quite obvious. We know why. It's the same reason why the disinformation of this whole QAnon on the mainstream, how they're trying to debunk it and make it sound like it's a bunch of crazy people doing their, conspiracy things again. So,
yeah, that is obvious, folks. So, this Hoda Muthana that they're not letting back in. Trump kind of demanded it again today. That was from the 20th, so they reposted it. I have instructed Secretary of the State Mike Pompeo, and he fully agrees not to allow Hoda Muthana back in the country. Now, we found out, was she born to a dignitary or
she was born to a diplomat. I think he was representing Syria, Iran. I don't know who he was representing. Came here to America, obviously had diplomatic immunity rights. He was doing this diplomatic thing. She was born here in the United States. I don't know where she was born in the United States, what hospital she was born in. But there actually was something where they did not give her citizenship because of who her father was. He was on here on diplomatic purposes, and I think we referred to in some episodes earlier about diplomatic immunity. These diplomats that come from other countries, they're in some essence immune to our Constitution. Therefore, whatever actions, including giving birth to a child or his wife or whoever giving birth to a child and saying, oh, this is my dad, they're kind of also immune to the Constitution, thus becoming a citizen and that kind of stuff. So I think when she flew off, I think it's had to do with Obama era. I don't remember much about it, but yeah, she goes out there and we got pictures of her on the internet that have been verified in many different categories and sources. The fact that her showing training like jihad at these like different, like a terrorist training camps is what they are. And then she wants to turn all the way around and come back to the United States. Like, oh, okay. It's almost like we were joking about it. It's almost like she went abroad to go sow her wild oats. Some kids go backpacking all over Europe and get it out of their system. She went to, there and went a little jihadish and she tried it, but she's not really for it anymore. She wants to come back home and live the American dream. Yeah. No, not going to happen.
And this is where our rules get sticky. So, like we said, we know people. This guy was here doing work, had, the diplomatic, immunity or whatnot, and then has a kid while that kid was born here, so now it's American. Spent most of her life and grew up here fine, but we know that she had a boyfriend, husband, whatever, close proximity fighters under the ISIS, and now at this point, was the brainwashing done? We got to assume all kinds of bad things, and this is what we talk about. We're already worried about our own vets that go off to war zones for a year or two sometimes. They got PTSD. Oh, they just need help. They're a danger to themselves sometimes. We got the suicide rate of our own veterans. We got probably domestic sides of, divorces, sometimes physical altercations with veterans. I mean, we get it all, just like in the civilian life. But we talk about these people that come from foreign countries that are maybe born for 20 years or 20-year-old male. They were born under wars going on, these extreme conditions for 20 years. This is a lot longer than the 2 years a veteran will go through, and they have all the issues. Is it more of a shock to a veteran that isn't used to it and then goes somewhere and witnesses things and then comes back and those visions for 2 years haunt him? What about the person that's born for 15, 20 years? A lot of times we talk about the kids that are maybe 15. It's like, oh, just bring them over here. They're in a refugee from a war-torn area, and we're going to put them right into the classrooms next to our kids. Do we not have a threat with that? That these are the issues, folks. That and then they're talking about this woman. Was she brainwashed? Is she tasked and trained? Is she a sleeper cell now at this point?
Yeah, it's at this point in time. She could be a possible national security threat. I mean, if you got people posting on Twitter and Facebook that they're going to go do something to a school or something crazy, and all of a sudden the FBI comes and arrests them, all this kind of stuff because they're saying this lady went to their country and was training how to slit people's throats efficiently from behind.
That makes you, like for military purposes, we have these questions. This is the forms that we fill out. Do you have any ties with other governments that were there to overthrow the current U.S. government? And that's like, yes, that almost restricts you from being in the military. They don't want, and there are rules for Americans. I don't think any American's allowed to go over and aid the enemy and work with them and then decide, it's not for me. I'm going to come back. We kind of don't want you. And I believe that she's facing crimes for something over there anyway. And she's thinking, if I just come back here and get tried, I'd be much better off in the prison system for...
She falls under enemy combatant. Just like if you're anybody, if I want to go over and fight for ISIS because I think, blah, 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 then as a U.S. citizen, I would be defined as an enemy combatant and therefore not fall under our Constitution that would protect me from my own government.
Yes. Yep, there you go. You don't have the right as an American citizen.
Art by Greg, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yep, enemy combatant. You don't have the right to go work and train with the foreign sworn enemy.
We went over this, yeah, with Judge Kavanaugh getting when that atrocity that they drugged that man through to what he went through was crazy. But one of the things was Senator Graham was talking to him about a different body of law, of armed combatants, enemy combatants. How does that work? Oh, you guys know how well that
I think we had the Hamidi case. Oh yeah, Hamidi versus so they went over it. We talk about who shot Abraham Lincoln,
John Wilkes Booth.
John Wilkes.
Yeah.
He was tried under for treasonous charges or working. Why? Everyone's like, whoa. Supposedly the hit came in from a foreign government on Lincoln. And he supposedly worked with them, so therefore he was tried in the tribunals. All right, look it up.
Under conspiracy, because he conspired. Oh yeah, a conspirer.
Conspirator or conspirator. Probably.
So when you look at this kind of stuff, exactly, it gets deep, and some people say, it was he got assassinated because he was trying to do something with taking, getting the slavery thing and this in the South and this kind of stuff, and it's like, it's the powers that be didn't want him messing with the money chain, because they don't care if we fight ourselves. They don't care what laws or rules we upon ourselves. It's they control the money. They care not what our law of the land is.
Yes.
So always something to take in consideration, knowing that it is what it is, but at any point in time, if these people still control our money flow, so they can turn it off at any moment.
All right, we got a
let's see here, the updater. So, I don't know, man. What do you guys out there? What are you guys kind of thinking out there? Because this is kind of insanity what we've been coming across lately. Just the fact that, what they're trying to pull on us and what they're trying to present us as truth. This whole Jesse Smollett thing, we knew that could go all the way up to Obama. This is just crazy, you guys. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah.
Grilling, pretty cool. We had a Q plus drop. I agree. I definitely agree. That's kind of cool. Kind of look back months ago and like, man, I don't know. Trump could be Q plus, you guys. I don't know. A lot of truth.
That Virginia Fairfax guy, the guy that's charged with kind of rape or whatnot, he I'll pull it up here real quick. He's this guy here, Virginia Fairfax, compares himself to the lynching victims. Richmond, Virginia, embattled Virginia Lieutenant Governor Fairfax compared himself to Jim Crow-era lynching victims in a surprise speech Sunday, as he resisted widespread calls to resign prompted allegations of these sexual assaults. So there you go. But it wasn't that way for old, Kavanaugh.
Oh no! Oh, that was the exact opposite. It was, again, guilty and then trying to prove your innocence is a very communistic, king tyrannical dictatorship way of functioning a society. We are innocent, and they have to prove our guiltiness. We're already innocent. That's how it should be, and. It's gotten turned upside down. Left is right, right is left, up is down. Right is wrong, wrong is right. This stuff is crazy.
Yeah, I saw something like the Democrats will finally be ready for a wall and support it once they find out that the people coming over are going to be voting Republican. They would all jump on board. Then, all right, we got to stop this.
Wait a minute, we used to control their minds of giving them free things, and now they're understanding that they gave their freedom away for free things, and they don't like it anymore, so build that wall. See?
Dem chairman demand Barr release Mueller report. We got prosecutors violated the law in dealings with the Jeffrey Epstein victims, by the way. We got a judge that ruled that. I mean, there was like 15 or 20 some kids that got like plea deals or some crap.
He brought down for sexual encounters with underage girls versus actual sexual assault, and that's different than. I mean, it doesn't carry. I mean,
he got like an 18-month sentence. That he talked about massages that often led into sexual acts,
but he got cut 5 months early. So you see, guys, stuff. This is when they try to play this word porn and semantics. I mean, these people should be literally getting their, becoming eunuchs and in prison for the next 100 years. If you catch my drift, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
That's what happened to all types of people when it talks of pedophilia. This is sick people. I mean, I think you're taken out back and shot. I mean, this is just when you violate a child like that.
That's what we talk about. You get more crime for getting caught with a bag of marijuana than you do for violating some other person, some innocent kid. We see it all the time and time again. It's crazy, folks.
Guy serves 13 months of an 18-month sentence, a slap on the wrist, and he didn't go to no critical high max security prison. He went to the Club Med. And he didn't go to general population or any normal jail. They'd eat him up for breakfast. They have their own little rules and conduct in the penitentiary.
So what are we thinking on the Mueller release this week? We're hearing lots about it, folks. Are we gonna?
No, yeah,
I'm
excited about it, man.
What do you think?
We know that's gonna come out before the OIG comes out. So it's this week, man. I'm like thinking, talking about mañana, tomorrow, first business day.
Or maybe Friday. I mean, who knows? Because Friday, they like to release stuff from the old FBI or any of them places. Friday, right before the close of business. That way they don't have to take too many questions until come Monday. A lot of the fires put out by Monday if they can't maybe have something else happen over the weekend that helps keep that quiet. I'm curious. We don't have a lot. We were talking about, well, how do we know about Manafort? How do we know about Roger Stone? How do we know about Papadopoulos, Carter Page? And it's like, well, Mueller was referring a lot of cases that didn't have anything to do with the scope of Russia collusion. He had to transfer those off to the correct. Wheelhouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then those were coming after those people, and those were kind of public at that point. And it's like, oh, this is all we've gotten out of Mueller. Is there going to be, when he drops the paperwork, and it's not at the minute we get to see it that people are arrested. I mean, once he's done with it, maybe arrest happen over the next few days. We get some kind of talking points on it, or we're hoping that, there's been so many other investigations going on, but everything's been quiet. And nothing's come out because even though you're doing this investigation here, if all these other things start popping off, it could kind of bring too much limelight to what they're doing. So we talk about this whole almost blackout with the media. There has been no real leaks from this administration. They've fixed up a lot of the leaks. A lot of the people have left that were leaking. Time. And the eyes are on everybody. The people that are maybe still lingering around that would like to leak don't really have the access. I don't know what's going on, but
well, I mean, and even what the hell did Whitaker do? What did he do? He was just
Hoover.
Sit there.
Hoover, right? What about Hoover?
What did Hoover do? Yeah. And so it's like, when you talk about opting things off and not in his either scope of authority, or it's almost like maybe you can take it at more of a simplistic level. You're not going to get a highway patrolman actually going to a huge drug bust or a crime, a gang unit, something like that. They're highway patrol. That's what they do. If they get something that's kind of out of their scope, they call in somebody else to help them. Then they're off at them getting speeders. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, you definitely know that if they had any type of collusion in an illegal manner, dealing with the manipulation of Russia and our voting and our president, they would have had it years ago. literally. I mean, this is just getting crazy. If they can find out Jesse Smollett and within 48 hours him posting everything, who these people are, closed camera, all this kind of stuff, and this comes out, or, I mean,
like that meme had said, you know, you just said it, you know, they found out more in 2 days than the Russia investigation in 2 years. I mean, that is just. Here's this. So what from 4 days ago they have breaking. Jesse Smollett has been charged with a felony. It's orchestrating this hate hoax. I mean, he deserves every bit of that, folks.
Gave the highest penalty of public disorderly conduct.
What if that tape would have came out that they were trying to get recorded? So let's go ahead and release it. You know, that now all we were seeing was the beating of him, you know, for a month, right? You know, over and over and over, and all the talking points to come off of it, and that's what they were shooting for, was this fake video to surface.
How many crazy race crimes, hatred crimes would start brewing up? I mean, you know, Chicago's they're a hotbed for that kind of stuff, and they've been susceptible and have been under that, you know, little scheme for many race wars. I mean, they've been that's like an old ancient technique.
What about what else we found out was let me see here. Dustin Gibbs just brought this up down in the chat. Did I go right past it?
I don't know.
Bill Maher, Hillary, right here. Caught on video. Here we go. We'll go to this. That was over the weekend, right? So the
okay, yes, the puppy dog. Yeah, the owner of the, was it the owner of the Patriots? Is that what this guy is?
Yes. How did Q know 2 days before the mainstream media? Patriots owner Robert Kraft charged with 2 counts of soliciting prostitution. New England Patriots owner and billionaire Robert Kraft charged with soliciting prostitution. And then on the fun begins directly after. We'll make the Super Bowl look like the puppy show. And then we know a sex puppy. We got that on the 22nd. Puppy, Sex Urban Dictionary, Super Bowl winners.
That's some crazy stuff, you guys. Crazy stuff. Nice picture of him in all the media.
I guess Q really does have it all. Woof. Yeah, you can bet Q knew Kraft was on surveillance video just when Kraft got all liberal in the fake news. Just when he started to get a little mouthy. Bam.
All bark and no bite.
All bark and no bite. Get your popcorn, folks. Get your popcorn ready. Right here. So it's interesting for sure.
You guys. I mean, what's the odds of the Patriots winning the Super Bowl and him being there? And well, now you know Q's messing with him because now he's playing with their bread and circus, and that's their main money makers, guys. You know, it's getting deep.
So let me see here again.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so interesting. Is we can see, even Mike and I were talking about this in one of our garage talk sessions. Is we can see it kind of starting to come to a head now. There's some things still lingering.
Look at this real quick. Unreal. Former ISIS terrorist currently works for the Department of Justice in NYC. The Brooklyn man who traveled to Syria to join ISIS has somehow been hired by the Department of Justice. I mean, what's their background checks? What are they doing over there? You know.
Well, he was just letting him know. I see. It's crazy, guys. Is this part of the deep state during of the Department of Justice, the FBI? These guys. I mean, are they bringing in ISIS assets? I mean, I always thought from the very beginning this whole ISIS thing was all manufactured from the get-go. I mean, this has just been it's blatantly. They're getting funding from somebody, and it ain't the countries they're currently in, at least not publicly.
So what I don't get is...
I smell a rat too, Larry Q, 1951.
Supposedly, we have given up all of our rights, not all of our rights, but I'm saying like for the surveillance state that we're in. This didn't come overnight, folks. They didn't just say, oh, by the way, we record everybody and we kind of got everything. And everyone's worried about it. We all bicker here like, I don't do anything wrong, but I don't want them recording everything. Other people will claim like, well, I don't do anything wrong, so I have nothing to worry about. And we always say, well, that's not a good enough answer to just give up all your freedoms because you don't do anything wrong. That's just how it starts. But they supposedly record everybody. They have it all. But yet, you know, they didn't know anything about Donald Trump working with Russia until he decided to run for presidency. And then they got to frickin' open up everything on him and start looking, and it's 2 years later, they still have nothing. So what do they really do? I mean, are they collecting stuff or not? Are they not advanced on it to stop? I mean, that was the whole point. We're going to monitor everything, grab it, filter it, and then jump on cases, but yet they don't even know who they're hiring. Or they're doing it on purpose. I mean, I just can't understand what it all really leads to for surveillance if they can't even catch a citizen cahooting with Russia before the fact, you know, and you know, we have to look into it when he starts running and go backwards in time.
It's what we've both been saying for so long is there is nothing. Because they do have all that technology. They know how to track emails and phone calls and transactions and track you where you go. And it's not it's not so much in real time. If they do, yeah, they can do that. But it's terms and conditions. We consent to Facebook. We consent to YouTube. We consent to all these things. We consent to our bank and this kind of stuff. And if there is an issue, the powers that be in our government can pull all your information and go through it and see what's going on.
And that's what I'm saying. So once the plane gets wrecked into a building, then they look into the people that were on the plane. Then they're like, oh, yeah, man, we see them talking about it all the way back to like for 5 years. Oh. So it was there.
I happened to find a perfectly good
I thought this whole system was to be kind of on the offense, kind of get the intel, stop it from happening, not after the fact, like you know. Like,
Obama talked about a magic wand, but what he was trying to tell you is that we've been doing this magic wand, casting spells all over you guys. It's working good. What kind of magic wand does Donald Trump have? Who? You know, that's what this spell was really about. Is like, hey, I got magic wands. We've been spreading this spell. What type of magic wand you got there over there, sir? And he comes with the American flag and like a big old huge right hook.
Yes. That is unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. So we got a lady that went and joined ISIS, now wants to come back and try in America again, see if it works for her. You got ex-ISIS that are working for the DOJ.
I mean, you know, here's a mind bender. Prepare yourself, everybody. Get ready for this. Get ready for this. You know about dual citizenship, right? So I was watching this kind of stuff. I think there's like 77 of our congressmen and women who have dual citizenship with Israel. And one of you commenters in here was like, oh, Schumer's for Israel. So wrap your mind around this, right? Dual citizenship. He is for abortion in America, but votes against abortion in Israel. What does that tell you, people? Just stop and think about that. He's a dual citizen, and approximately 77 of our congressmen and women are dual citizens to Israel. Now, I have nothing wrong with Israel. I have nothing wrong with any other country. You want to be a country? Be a country. But why are we building walls in their country and why can they have things that we can't have, and we're funding that? It's like, it's like, I don't care. Israel has a wall. Awesome, good for Israel. But we paid for it, and the same people
and it
are saying,
seems
you
to
don't want a
work
wall, you don't
according
need
to
a wall.
them. So everyone's like, nobody has issues with our tax dollars going outward, foreign governments, walls being built that seem to work by their people's standards, the government standard. Oh yeah, we had a huge problem. People were just walking up and walking over. Once this wall got there, that didn't happen anymore. But everyone says, oh, it won't work here. But it's like, well, it works over there, and people are still doing the old age fashion, beginning of time caveman walk.
These people hate America, you guys. I mean, it's very obvious. These people just hate America. They want to start killing our babies. They want.
When Trump asked for loyalty or are you loyal, and everyone took it to be like, he's asking, like mafia style for Comey, are you loyal to me? And everyone's like, you can't do that. It's like, maybe he was asking, are you loyal to the country? Well, that's still very awkward to be asking people. No, it's not. This is what we got to get back to. I want loyal people to the Constitution residing in these offices. That's what we all should beg for. Loyalty to country first, not to your other country. And, that's the best way to get people in here to do things, folks, or foreigners, all right? Sometimes to take down our sovereignty. They have no dog in the race for it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like once you start to reveal these people's true agenda and see who really truly their masters are, you start realizing that all of us like schmucks gave up our freedom and all of our hard-earned money and foreign aid and blindly said yes to all these foreign policies that benefited every other country and killed America and the working middle class. And I mean, it's amazing. And yet a lot of people still support that and still want to somehow argue that, well, if they just bring inflation down and if we just kind of reorganize how you spend your money. It's like, you don't even understand the money you're talking about. It's a fiat currency. You're going to, it's like it's not going to work. So it's very interesting.
Dual citizenship is why we were fighting all these wars for other countries. Yes, they're having border walls, they're getting invaded. We fight for many reasons. We claim many reasons. So we're not allowed to fight for our own. Everything that's going on overseas, they're screaming out, and the news presents it in the way it's supposed to be. But here in our own country, we have an invasion. Do you not consider 20 million illegals in the country an invasion? I mean, what's the number got to be? Well, it's a matter of how they come in. They got to be like killing people. Some of them are. Well, you can go over all the.
They don't hold our country higher than other countries. Bottom line is you have to be selfish like that. I mean, we got a comment here. It's like, Israel, that's where Jesus will return to. I'm not even taking to religious point. I'm taking to a pure freedom point. It's like, what about Syria? What about South Africa? What about Nigeria? What about Zimbabwe? How about, Norway? I mean, any country we're talking about, a nation, is able to be their nation. But I'm not more concerned about South Africa than I am about America, because I'm American, and I want people who are representing me to care about America as strongly as I do, not to have these subversive ulterior motives because they have another dual citizenship to another country, and where they're okay with abortions in their other country, but in our country they want abortions. Like, does that seem kind of genocidal?
Or they talk about, how does that work? Why do we see a lot of people that come here and then maybe they still fly their flag's country? Do you hate them instantly for that? It's kind of like, no, you can kind of see where they're coming from. It's like, and other people will break down, well, that's just because they have great love for their country, Ben, and where they came from, and they could say all the things you want. You're like, well, so do I. See, I have that for here. And but then all of a sudden you're deemed racist, or you shouldn't be like that. But they're allowed to be like that, and but you're like, oh, just
Yeah,
put,
I mean,
me in their shoes, and it's very similar, very similar. You know, it gets crazy.
It's definitely complicated because, I mean, on one aspect, of course, you say yes, we're a melting pot of many races. We're all immigrants. Even going back to generations and generations ago, we're still all immigrants. But we all came from somewhere because we had all had the same dream of freedom. Now, yes, hey, the people who come from the continent of Africa, people who come from the European continent, and the Irishmen from Ireland, and I mean, they didn't just make people from the African continent slaves. They made everybody slaves, and including Irishmen, and it was and Polish and all kinds of people. So when we came here to America, all of our ancestors, all of you who are watching, who are in America, it was for freedom. They were proud. They brought their own recipes and their foods and their traditions, but they all were around a common theme of we will never be ruled by another tyrannical king. We are all kings and queens, and it's a basic idea of freedom that still holds us together today. And when you have people coming over wanting to turn our country like their country, that's when I have a problem.
That's where you got to draw the line, folks. All right. So what Ben was describing there is, back in 1776 when we declared, all right, what do? We went to war several years before that with King George III to get away from, sending back monies and having these taxes that they just felt like, tax without representation. We're way over here. We're doing this. Money's got to trickle back. They wanted to break free from that. So the minute we did break free from that, they were coming back. They're right there. Well, we're going to get back embedded into this country. And then they did it, but in a more sly manner by calling it the Federal Reserve this time instead of taxes to King George III, or however it went back. But so it took a long time, 100 years, but they did it. With the help of people that were kind of embedded, or people that made promises, for election favors, and we'll make sure you win if you just sign off on this little bill for us. Well, how do you guarantee my win? It's like, you don't worry about that. You just make sure you sign this if you do. Fine, and these people, that was their deal maybe. I'm sure there was more to it. But yes, give me freedom or give me death.
Sneakiness going on, and I think we can both agree that we want transparency. We all want to be educated voters, and we want to know what our representatives are representing and what they stand for, and if they have a conflict of interest. And I think there was a quote, or there was a chat earlier saying that, they don't think if you have dual citizenship that should be a conflict of interest if you serve publicly. I mean, I think that should be scrutinized, and who knows? I mean, that may change in the future. But the bottom line is we don't have transparency, and we're going off very little, and all we see is the aftermath, the devastation of these people as they're going through, and these crazy bills and our foreign policies is just totally out of whack. All the while, it's our fault. We're too aggressive. We don't need a wall. We just love. We just love everybody. They're just hungry people coming over to get something to eat, because they're super hungry, yet all of our fruits and vegetables come from south of the border. So
we buy all of our stuff.
Of course they're hungry. We're getting all their fruits and vegetables. They have nothing to eat down there.
Yeah, no, Woodman was in the room earlier. I'm not sure, folks. Connections sometimes better than others. So I never saw him jump back in. I closed out that log. All right, we got the 50-minute mark. We'll go here for another few minutes. Take some direct. We'll do some shout-outs and maybe a question or two if we see them.
Lots of love to the mods, you guys.
Yes.
You guys are rocking and rolling tonight. Super lots of love to be back to you guys for sure.
I see that now. Fluid Pour Art by Greg. We will have you on the next call-in we do.
Yes,
maybe tomorrow, or definitely this week sometime. We'll do callers this week for sure. And I will get with you and set that up. Lisa, Amazon plane crash. I did hear a little something about that. Was that Where was that at? What state did that happen in? That plane crash? I just saw that.
By the way, I think the Patriot Hour, I don't know, Mike may be doing some apparel coming up. We've been playing with the notions and stuff like that. I know that we got a lot of stuff, so we may have some merch coming down the pipeline. We don't know. We're having so much fun with you guys and making videos. It's awesome. So
Texas.
Bush Airport. Okay.
Yes. Okay. No, they were telling. Okay, I thought they were giving me shots out where they're from. I was like, wow, that's where. Yep, Bush Airport. Yes.
They went down the river. I think they're looking for the black box. Yeah, we'll see if they find the black box. I mean, see what it says for sure. Texas, 30 miles from the Bush Airport in the river. Wow. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what the black box says, because if it went down in the river, that means it was no hard crash on the surface. And I mean, we don't know. I mean, I haven't heard about this. This is the first time I heard about it.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Crash into Trinity Bay. Agree right by the way, Bert and Hannah.
Two bodies recovered.
Yes, ma'am.
Emergency personnel work at the scene of a crash site taken down in Trinity Bay. Anahawk, a southwest east Texas sheriff said Sunday that 2 bodies have been recovered at the site where the Boeing 767 cargo plane crashed into a coastal bay. All 3 people aboard the flight 3591 died. Wow.
Is this a small plane? Because there's only 3 people.
All 3 people aboard. Well, it was a cargo.
767.
It's a cargo.
Cargo plane. Okay. So, there you go.
Yep. I think it was for Amazon, just a bunch of Amazon stuff, possibly. Civilian volunteers in small boats.
Amazon, you're right, yeah.
Did it say that in here? Or?
Yeah, that's the senior citizen. Thoughts and prayers are with he was the VP of Amazon, gave a statement. The senior vice president of world operations at Amazon said our thoughts and prayers are at the flight crew, their families and friends, along with the entire team at Atlas Air during this terrible tragedy. We appreciate the first responders who work urgently to provide support. Man, definitely, man. Send love and prayer to all your guys, all their families. They're gonna need it, man. This is tragic.
So that is unfortunate, folks. I don't know what
We don't know. We that was the first I read about that. It is quite tragic. It's a cargo plane. Okay, yeah, it was carrying some Amazon stuff. That happens. You know, Amazon is a huge company. They carry all kinds of stuff. I don't know if it was mechanical issues or something like that. Obviously, when they retrieve the black box, I'm pretty sure the FAA is gonna release some type of official statement of what caused the crash, because it was some type of mechanical failure, because planes just don't fall out of the sky unless they're either shot out or there's mechanical failure.
Yep, a Boeing 767 cargo plane, flight 3591. All 3 people aboard have passed. So again, God bless and Godspeed to all their families and those in mourning at this point. So we can close it on this article here a little bit. The Mueller-Himes Republican or Representative Jim Hines said, everything about this has become political. The way to end that, of course, is for the truth to be out there. So we got all these people, this Democrat out of Connecticut, a member of the House Intelligence Committee on Sunday, said that the upcoming report from Special Counsel Robert Mueller Russia probe must be made public because everything about this has become political. The question of the Russian interference and possibility of collusion by the president and his people has twisted our politics into something unrecognizable for the last 2 years, including the behavior on part of the president, attacking the FBI, attacking Bob Mueller. So this guy's
he's calling
heavily.
So he's calling for
it's all Trump's fault. None of this existed before Trump. We had complicity and quietness and people kind of getting along, under the old administrations. Well, of course you did. Of course you did.
You're going to be quite sad when what they're screaming for. Public. We want a public, and it comes out totally public, and it's going to be a huge.
Well, if we had these other investigations going on right around Mueller, and Mueller knew of this, like even though he's doing one here, and it's kind of like, I'm not going to look into this, I'm not going to look into that, even though something might lead him to go down this path, and then he has to kind of stop halfway, and be like, it's out of my scope, bloop, hand it over to this guy, to Huber, that was doing something else. There was like no way to not do your job, and they're probably watching already over here with the half a link coming to him, waiting for Mueller to meet them halfway with that bit of evidence to say, oh, thank you. And, and if not, they can say, well, hell, our investigations led back to your investigation. How come your investigation didn't lead outward through these same channels? Well, I came across that guy, Papadopoulos, and I knew he was put into the campaign of Trump, and I never looked that angle. I just gave him the crimes that he did while he was around. But, well, didn't he say on the record that he was put there by this person that was close to the Hillary Clinton? Yeah. Did you pass it on to any investigators? No, I didn't. I felt, every bit of my heart that I didn't need to. Or he's got a lot of explaining to do. So,
oh yeah, I agree.
I'm thinking the same thing, folks. This week, hopefully this week, we get the Mueller release. We get the OIGs that have been going on other things. And why hasn't any of them come out yet? Well, it's probably all residing on this Robert Mueller, the longest one, 2+ years, and the results. Anything else would have hindered that. And did he do a good job, or did he do a half hit piece, cover up type thing? Well, it'll be very clear.
Once it released, we're gonna find out. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head on that one. Wrapping it up, it's like I think this week, hopefully, it comes out. We're gonna see. It's it's gonna be a puff piece or it's gonna be a hit piece. Either way, we're gonna find out what's happening in these other OIG reports. So it's gonna be interesting. But of course, we know that always moving forward, the wall is getting built every day, faster and faster and faster. We're getting the old Army Corps of Engineers, old green red castle up on that. So they're rocking and rolling that one. We're gonna try to. I'll do some more garage talk for sure later on for the show. See if we can get some more information on that for sure, because that's what a lot of us are really excited about, is the completion of the wall or the barrier or the border, basically locking that southern border up, because I think some bigger things are going to be happening even in the border after that.
That's right. So let's start there at least. All right, folks, we'll shut this one down. I'm Mike. That was Ben. Great to have you guys with us. We love the live shows. We'll be back for sure with another live show possibly this week. Get something arranged, and maybe even the Woodman can join in the full show this time. Until then, make sure you're subscribed over here. Make sure you're subscribed to the Patriot Hour. This is our backup, shall anything happen over there, but we appreciate it. And God bless, Godspeed, and great evening to all of you worldwide. We'll see you on the next episode.
Call it what you want, what you want. God.